What's going on, guys? We're back, and I wanted to do this video on how to overcome, like, the next day. How do you get back on track after you kind of had like a binge eating experience or like a cheat day or something like that? How do you get back on track the next day to ensure that you are indeed going to be back on track to lose the fat and whatever your goals are, health and fitness wise? And number one, just to give you guys a brief in-depth look at what we're trying to do here, is that you have to come to terms if you have an eating disorder, binge eating. Binge eating is defined, just eating an extreme copious amounts of food in a very short amount of time with no control of your actions. And the last statement where it says no control, that's the key there, because if you go out in a day where you have some food and then all of a sudden you have full dinner and you're full to the gills, right? But you keep eating just because you're like, oh, it's my day to have whatever I want, and you just keep going and going and going. That's binge eating, guys. You have to come to terms with that and admit that you have that problem, and then take the necessary steps to get by that. And flexible dieting, counting macros, that is a great way to get by that. But for this video, we're not going to get too in-depth into what binge eating is, how do you defeat it, and stuff like that. Well, I'll do that in another video. I actually wrote a complete article about my experience about binge eating. I had it about 3 years ago. I mean, I went through it when I first started fitness. You eat just drastic amounts of food, and you're like, what did I just do? You gain like you can gain like 5 pounds of fat in like one day. It's like crazy. So I wrote an article about it on my website. I'll link it in the comments, or in the comment section below, so you guys can check it out after this video. But this video is about, like, say you had a weekend, and you had a family get together, or 4th of July is coming up, I'm sure people have the weekend where they're just gonna have whatever they want and drink, or say you went to a wedding and you just gave yourself that day, and you ate whatever you want. You had a lot of stuff that you don't usually have. How do you get back on track the next day? What are some things you can do to enhance your fat loss goals and your health and fitness goals? And number one is don't look at it as a cheat day or a binge day or something like that. Those words they're negative. They have they just have a negative aura about them. So I like to call them just refueling days, refeeding days, higher calorie days, stuff like that, so that it has a positive outcome at the end. So a second thing I would say is plan them. Plan the day where you're going to have whatever you want, because those feelings of guilt and disappointment that accompany those days where you just kind of go off and have whatever you want, that's what kind of makes you just keep eating, because you're so guilty about what you did. You're like, oh, I failed my plan. I cheated on my plan because I had a cheat day. And you feel so guilty, so you just keep eating and eating. And that's what really, that guilt really leads to those episodes of just continuous eating without any control over what you're doing. So, like, I would say plan them. For me, I still every Sunday. I'm not getting ready for a competition. I mean, I have a few photo shoots going on later in the year, so things will change. But right now, I mean, I'm still just eating healthy, and every Sunday I still have what I want. I don't track anything. I follow flexible dieting and macros, which is why I have the ebook coming out. But I don't track anything on Sunday. I eat until I'm full. I have whatever I want, whenever I want. I have total control over my actions. If I'm full, I stop eating. If I'm not full, I'll keep eating, and that's just what it is. But then as soon as Monday comes around, I get right back on track to my plan, and that's a key to making sure you're on track to achieving your goals. Is if you had that day, leave it behind you. Like when you plan it, you don't have that guilt and disappointment. You know what I mean? You worked so hard for 6 days straight, whatever it was that you do. You worked so hard. You were 100% on your workouts and cardio and your nutrition. And that day comes, you shouldn't have any guilt about that, because you worked so hard. Like, I told myself I was gonna do this, and then I said, this day I'll just have whatever I want, and I followed exactly as is. I achieved what I said I was gonna do. So you shouldn't have any guilt or disappointment. Like, enjoy the food, enjoy your day, the company, whatever, who you're with. But then the next day, as you plan, to get right back on track. And that's why you also shouldn't just look at these days as bad. Like these days where you just have some junk food or higher calorie days, like they're not bad. They actually have a pretty positive outcome. You know, when you do severe dieting and you have prolonged periods of caloric restriction, your body downregulates certain hormones, and hormones that are heavily involved in fat burning, such as, you know, natural HGH in our body, leptin. Both hormones so essential for telling our body to mobilize fatty acids, make them available so we can burn them for energy. And then even enzymes such as, you know, HSL, you know, hormone sensitive lipase, which is highly involved in fat burning, that gets downregulated. So when you have a day of refeeding and refueling and higher calorie days of carbs and fats and things like that, those hormones actually get upregulated. They go back to normal, and they even shoot past their original because they've been downregulated for so long. As soon as you have a day like that, they skyrocket. So when you get back on track the next day with your caloric restriction plan and working out and stuff like that, you actually burn fat more efficiently now. And again, you're going to hit that plateau again sooner or later if you continue right back on plan and now the calories are restricted and you do 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, those hormones are going to come back down again. You're going to hit a fat loss plateau. Great way to just bump them back up. Have a refeed day, have a refuel day. You know, give yourself that day to have what you want. So those are the few keys in the beginning, I would say. Plan those days, you know, so you feel accomplished. Let go the next day. Let go of it. Like it was yesterday. No one's like getting mad at you because you had some cake and burgers and fries and ice creams and all this shit yesterday. No one cares. Like that's the past. Let go. Get back on track the next day. And you know, don't look at them as negative. They're very positive. You know, they're very positive things. And unless you know you can attest to yourself that you have an eating disorder, you have no control over that day, and you're just eating until your stomach explodes and you want to throw up. Like that's a binge eating disorder, guys. You got to get to the bottom of that, and you have to solve that problem first before you can start planning to have days where you just have whatever you want. Because if that type of eating, like 6 days straight and then 1 day of eating whatever you want, if that kind of starts an eating disorder for you and all you look forward to is that day of eating, then you have to take a step back and you have to evaluate that, because that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about, you know, just enjoying the food, enjoying the company, having a free day just to let loose, but also being healthy about it. So those are the few things in the beginning I would say. Plan the days, don't look at them as negative, and get back on track the next day, leave it in the past. A few things that after you have that day, the next day, a few things to do to make sure that you can get right back on track is definitely have a heavy, intense workout. Whether it's, I love doing legs the day after I have a day. So Sunday will be my day. I have whatever I want, you know, whenever I want, eat till I'm full. The next day I train legs. I go hard, heavy squats. Sometimes I'll even do deadlifts and squats in the same day. Some people be like, oh, that's crazy, but I mean, I love it. It works for me. I'll do heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, you know, heavy walking lunges, things that are just so compound and make me burn a lot of calories during the session and make my intensity go up. Definitely lift heavy the next day. Also, perform some type of HIIT. You know, high intensity interval training, whether it be sprints up a hill, or you're doing them on the bike, the cycle, pushing the prowler sled. Do some type of high intensity cardio as well, because that day that you're having, you know, all that food and you're just refueling, it's mostly carbs and fats, you know, and it's more carbs than fat, I should say, too. So when you have all those carbs, your glycogen stores are going to get filled pretty quickly. You know, we store about 100 grams, give or take, in our liver as glycogen, the glucose as glycogen, and then we have about, give or take, 500 grams to store in our muscles as glycogen. So once that 600-ish gram ceiling of carbs as glycogen is hit, whatever extra carbs, if you're over your maintenance, they're going to get stored as fat. They're just going to get stored as energy that you need to use later on. So the next day, if your glycogen stores are filled, I mean, you're ready to go. You need to use them. So you're going to have a great workout. That's why I always up the intensity. And when you do HIIT, high intensity, that is strictly using glucose for the energy. For those sprints in that ATP-PC system, it's strictly carbs and glucose as the energy source. So you need to utilize everything that is stored and ready to go. Utilize it. So work out hard, do some HIIT. I'd also recommend a second thing is to fast in the morning. If fasting is your thing and you do it, I've been experimenting with it. I'll do another video on intermittent fasting, but fast the next morning if that's your thing. I know fasting isn't, it's for some people makes them like nauseated and stuff like that. It's not for everyone. Just like the one diet is not for everyone. You know, intermittent fasting is not for everyone. But if it is your thing, definitely utilize it. You know, when you fast periodically and intermittently, HGH hormone skyrockets, so you're mobilizing fat more efficiently. Your anabolic hormones and receptors in your body, they upregulate. So when you go to work out, all that food that you ate is primed and ready to be used to rebuild muscle tissue and enhance their recovery process. So if fasting is your thing, definitely go for it. If you could do 12 hours, great. I'm doing the 14-hour fast, 10-hour eating window right now. Works great for me. If you can even up it and do the 16-hour fast and 8-hour eating window, do that. But that's one thing I would definitely recommend. If it's your thing, definitely try fasting the next day. You know, so try and get all your, if you have that meal the previous day where you're just eating whatever you want and it's a free day for you, it's a refueling day, try and get all that food in by 10 p.m. and then stop. And then when you wake up the next morning, fast until 12. Have some coffee, have some water, you know, chug the water down, and then eat your next meal at 12. You have the 14-hour fast going there. And another thing with working out high and intense is that next morning after you have all that stuff, you're definitely going to wake up with some water retention, you know, all those carbs and sodium, and you're going to wake up with some water retention. So working out with intensity and sweating, in the cardio, it's going to help get rid of that water retention quickly. And along with the fast, it's going to create a big calorie deficit for you. If you fast and then you have a certain amount of calories that you're going to eat calorically restricted in that 8-10 hour eating window, and then you work out with intensity and you're doing some HIIT, you're going to create a great calorie deficit. That's going to get you right back on track, you know, 2 days after your day of just eating and refueling. Another thing I want to touch on is that by looking at those days, they're not bad, they're very positive. Anyone who's ever done it, I mean, I'm doing it myself right now. Like I said, I'm not getting ready for anything, but I'm still following my plan 100% Monday through Saturday, calorically restricted right now, doing some cardio. And Sunday, I have whatever I want. I don't calculate anything. You know, I flexible diet and do macros and stuff like that, but sometimes you just want to let free off of that too. You need a break from the gym. You need a break from calculating shit. You know what I mean? So Sunday, I have whatever I want. And literally, Tuesday comes around, Wednesday, all that bloat or the water retention, everything is gone because I've had 3 intense workouts, following my plan 100%. I'm leaner Wednesday. I get leaner Thursday. By Friday, I'm much tighter than I was when I woke up Monday after my day of refueling and refeeding. And I'm sure anyone out there who attests to it says the same. And that's a big reason why they're beneficial and why you shouldn't look at them in like a negative light like that. So that's the few things that I wanted to touch on. You know, work out hard with intensity the next day. Fast, if it's your thing. Definitely chug on the water. Get right back on track to your healthy plan that you have for yourself. Don't look at them as negative days like that are just like with guilt and depression and disappointment. And by not having those feelings, plan them. You know, execute your plan accordingly. And you're definitely, you're going to feel great afterwards. Those are some things that you could do to counteract those days. Because this is what's going to happen. After you have a day like that, you're going to wake up the next morning. Most likely, you're not hungry because you had so much food the day before and you're so full still, glycogen, everything. You're going to be full. You're going to have this false hunger in your brain because you just had a taste of whatever sweets and all this stuff that you had the day before. You're gonna have this false sense of hunger in your brain when you wake up the next morning, and you're gonna be like, you're just gonna want to eat more of it. But really deep down, you're not really hungry for it. It's just your mind, because your blood sugar is gonna fluctuate so much by getting your glycogen back down, and you're not eating as much carbs as you did the day prior. Your blood sugar is gonna fluctuate, and it's gonna give you this false sense of cravings and hunger. And that's why the next day is usually the most difficult to get back on track. You know, if you have a day where you just have whatever you want, and the next day it's kind of difficult. I'll even admit to it. But But once you get back on track, Tuesday's much easier, Wednesday's much easier, and then all of a sudden you see yourself tightening up, and you're losing body fat, and you're getting tighter. You're like, what's going on? And you look in the mirror, and compared to Monday to Friday, you look like a different person, and you're like, wow, you know, these can be these are beneficial for me. So that's why you have to correlate them to a positive outcome instead of them being like cheat days and you're cheating and you're just, no one likes cheaters, like it's a negative thing, like, so don't look at them like that. And you know, even from my personal experience, I've been doing it for the past 10 weeks. I started like a little mini cut, you know, to get ready for you know, my shoots down the line. I want to be ready long before, so that, you know, I have to severely diet and do a lot of cardio and stuff like that. So literally Monday through Saturday, 6 days, I'm 100% on my calories and macros. I hit everything accordingly. I get all of my cardio in. I work out with intensity. I get enough sleep. And then Sunday, I have whatever I want. I don't calculate anything. I literally have whatever I want. Eat till I'm full. If I'm hungry, I go out, get whatever the heck I want, and then that's it. And I went, you know, from 225 10 weeks ago, and I was 203 this past Saturday. So, just, you know, some people say you have to calculate everything Sunday, and that's true if you're getting ready for competition or photo shoot. I do the same thing. I have my clients do the same thing. We have calculated refeed days. Now, I know exactly how many carbs you're eating. I know exactly how much fat you're eating. I know exactly how much protein you're eating, and I know what sources they're coming from. But if you're not getting ready for anything, you could still lose fat and achieve a healthy, fit appearance and performance by just staying on track and then having whatever you want and giving yourself a day to just kind of let loose and relax a little bit. Everything doesn't always have to be calculated. If we're talking about competition prep and getting in the best shape possible, yes, you know, things are going to have to get calculated, and that takes a whole nother mindset and discipline and dedication. But if you're not looking to compete and you're just looking to, you know, enjoy yourself and live a happy, healthy life, food makes you happy, you know what I mean? Once you get a relationship with healthy food, you'll realize that you love eating healthy. But also, you know, I love eating healthy too. I'm a health fanatic. People know me for that. But, you know, it's funny. People see, you know, me out or eating burgers and fries. Like, dude, you're not supposed to be eating that. You know, I'm sure you guys get it too. But that's needed for long-term success. Because if you just diet severely every week after week after week, you are setting yourself up to fail somewhere. You're going to end up going off plan. You're going to end up binging, which we don't want. We don't want a binging disorder. You're going to end up doing that if you don't give yourself a break. You need a break, you know? It's the analogy, you can't sprint for an hour, an all-out sprint. You know, your body won't allow it. You can't, sooner or later, you have your pedal to the floor in your car going 120. Sooner or later, you're either going to crash or the car is going to break down. You know, because it can't sustain that amount of torque and power for that long amount of time. It's the same thing with you and your diet. You know, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to go 6 months straight not eating anything but, you know, chicken, veggies, like, you know, bro diets and shit like that. After the 6 months comes, dude, you're going to gain back so much weight if that was your goal. You did 6 months, you lost a bunch of weight, you ate it strategically. Once that 6 months is up and you don't have a plan, dude, you're going to gain back so much of that fat. And it's been proven in data and research, the rebound effect. So you just don't look at them negatively. Look at them as positives. You know, enjoy life, enjoy the food, enjoy the company. Then when the next day, put it behind you, get your ass to the gym, work out hard, do some HIIT, right back on track to your nutrition, and watch, you know, if you do that for the next 5, 6 days straight, you'll wake up leaner, guarantee you lost some body fat, and then, you know, it's up to you if you want to do it again. But so those are my few tips for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will get another one to you out very shortly. I get a lot of questions already about intermittent fasting. I started it about 6 weeks ago. I'll get a video up on that. I'll get a video more in depth about binge eating and how my experience and stuff like that, and how to kind of get past that. And we'll just keep coming out with certain things, you guys. I'm really excited. I'm moving to San Diego with my girlfriend very soon. This is going to be our last month in Connecticut in June right here. So it's kind of surreal. So we're just, hopefully, you know, the next couple of videos will be the last ones I'll have here in Connecticut. And then sooner or later I'll upload one, and hopefully I'll be around some palm trees on a patio and it all being all sunny in San Diego. So I'm looking forward to that. But as always, guys, thank you so much. Like the video, share it if it helped you. Comment in the section what you want to see next, and we'll get back to you guys soon. All right? God bless. Take care. Hope Hustle Fitness.